In this video, we're talking about firearms and other weapons that are prohibited under Arizona law. There are certain rules that Arizona has in place about who can have firearms, who cannot have firearms, who can have certain weapons, what types of weapons are not allowed, and we're going to run through those. In a different video, we talked about different categories of people who cannot have certain weapons. In this video, we're going to talk specifically about the weapons themselves, what is allowed and what is not. This is defined in the definitions portion of Title 13 for the weapons violations, ARS 133101, and it details a number of different types of weapons or explosives that are not allowed. They're prohibited. They are prohibited weapons. And so let's run through them and see what they are. First and foremost, number one is any bombs, grenades, or rockets. Really what they're talking about is anything that has the ability to explode. The statute itself talks about anything that has 4 ounces or more of an explosive volatile. That is going to be prohibited. So, of course, bombs, grenades, any rockets, you would imagine those are all very serious weapons. They can cause a lot of damage. Those are going to be prohibited. So you can't be in possession of any of those things. Number two is anything that is designed to muzzle or to suppress the sound of a firearm. So any firearm suppressors or silencers, it doesn't actually use that language, the statute doesn't, but it does say anything that's designed or kind of manipulated into suppressing the sound of a firearm. So if you put something on the end of this weapon that is intended to suppress or silence or really reduce the volume that you're going to hear as a result of firing that weapon, that's going to be prohibited. You cannot have a weapon or anything that's going to be suppressing a weapon. That's going to be a prohibited weapon under the statute. Similarly, other firearms rules. So we have what I'm calling short barrel shotguns or rifles are not allowed. So if you go to a weapon store, a firearm store, you can buy a full barrel shotgun. All of those from a licensed, reputable, certified dealer are going to be within the confines of the law. But if you buy a shotgun, take it home and modify it, and you cut the barrel off, or you buy a long rifle and cut the barrel off, they have to comport with these rules. If it's shorter than that, that's going to be a prohibited weapon under the statute. So a shotgun barrel, it cannot be less than 18 inches. So if you get a 22-inch shotgun and cut that off to 16 inches, it's going to be in violation of the statute because it's going to be shorter than 18 inches. Same with a rifle barrel, except that's a little shorter. You can buy a rifle, but the barrel has to be 16 inches. If it's less than 16 inches, that's illegal. It's going to be considered a prohibited weapon. Or if you have any variation of a rifle or a shotgun, the total length of the entire weapon, not just the barrel, cannot be less than 26 inches. So that means from the stock, from the shoulder, butt, all the way up to the end of the barrel, can't be less than 26 inches. What they're trying to do is prevent people from sawing off the barrels to make weapons more portable or more deadly in a certain sense, because you don't have to have a great distance between you and whatever it is you're aiming at. You can just pull a weapon out and you don't have to deal with a kind of a big cumbersome barrel. There's other reasons why people saw the barrel off, but that's the rule. Has to comport with these different lengths. Surprisingly, and this is kind of an interesting one, prohibited weapons are nunchucks. So if you saw the Ninja Turtles, Michelangelo, the Cowabunga Ninja Turtle, he had the nunchucks. They kind of look something like this. So these are prohibited weapons. This is a prohibited weapon under the statute. The statute actually includes the words nunchucks. Now it goes into a little bit more detail. It says wooden kind of ends connected by a piece of rope or a chain. These are technically prohibited weapons under the statute. I'm showing them on this video because I think this is part of a lawful demonstration, and there is an exception we'll get to in other videos that say that I can do that and be in possession of these for this purpose. Moving on, anything that is a breakable container with a flammable liquid, think Molotov cocktails. So a Molotov cocktail is somebody takes a bottle, they fill it with some gasoline, and then they put in a piece of rag or cloth or ripped up t-shirt or socks or something and put it in there, light the end of that, throw it, it breaks, explodes, the gas flies everywhere and catches fire. that is illegal. So anything that is similar to that, it's technically not called a Molotov cocktail in the statute, but it says anything that's a breakable container with a flammable liquid and a wick or something resembling a wick is going to be considered a prohibited weapon. Also, anything that I'm calling bursting gas bombs. So you may have played around with these when you were a younger kid, or maybe you do it on the weekends for fun. But if you're taking something like dry ice and putting it in a 2-liter bottle or some other container, closing the lid on there quickly, shaking it up and throwing it, and that thing expands with gas and then eventually will explode because the plastic will become so pressurized, it will actually explode. That is a prohibited weapon. That actually can be quite dangerous depending on what chemicals are used, the quantities, the different materials that are used. So anything that is going to be similar to that, like a dry ice bomb, and the statute specifically says dry ice in there because this apparently became a problem for some legislators at some point. But anything that is very similar to that is going to be considered a bursting gas bomb. That's going to be considered a prohibited weapon. Also, IEDs, just like what you hear about in the news, in the wars all throughout the world, improvised explosive devices, so anything that resembles an IED, where there's some sort of container with explosives in it, a pipe bomb that's rigged to a cell phone. Of course, any of those things resemble terrorism, and that's going to be a prohibited weapon. And then there is a catch-all number 9 here, which is saying that anything that is used to any kind of variety of materials that can be used or assembled to make any one of these things, number 1, number 6, or number 8. So anything that can be used to make a bomb, a grenade, or rocket, or make something that's a breakable container that explodes or has flammable liquid inside of it, or that is used to create an IED. If you have a number of these materials in place and there was some intent or there's kind of an inclination that you're going to be using these things to create one of those, that all of those things are together going to be considered prohibited weapons because you can assemble them to create something that's a prohibited weapon. So it's kind of a catch-all down there. So these are the prohibited weapons that are covered under the statute. If you are a prohibited possessor, or if you're in possession of one of these weapons and you are caught with it, you can be charged with a felony, and they can be quite serious depending on where you fall on this list. If you're facing a misconduct involving weapons charge and you want to speak with our team about it, give us a call. We offer free case evaluations. We'll be able to review the specific facts of your case, see where the police initiated the investigation, see where they went wrong, see what we can do to build the best defense possible to make sure that you have the best outcome that we're able to achieve. Give us a call. We look forward to speaking with you. Thanks for watching.